Hello, everybody, and indeed, welcome to another edition of Hoosier Hometown Heroes. I'm Tony Val. Jim Liston is the founder of Project Outdoor Nativity Scene, a fast-growing initiative helping churches and schools share the true meaning of Christmas while raising money for ministries they care about. What began in 2021 with 10 participating organizations has grown to more than 6,600 nativity sets sold and over $130,000 raised. Today, Jim is working to expand the movement even further, inviting Christian communities of all denominations to bring faith, visibility, and the spirit of Christmas into front yards across the country. Now, please enjoy my conversation with Jim Liston. Hoosier Hometown Heroes is sponsored by Prometheus Consulting. Prometheus is Indy's most trusted name in outsourced IT support. Jim, thank you so much for joining me on Hoosier Hometown Heroes.
Happy to be with you today, Tony.
So where I want to start is I'm curious to hear, where did you get the idea of starting Project Outdoor Nativity Scene, and when was it started?
Yeah, well, long-time Catholic and always wanted to have a outdoor nativity scene in my front yard. And way back in December of 2020, we ordered one, put it in the front yard, and in early 2021, I had a meeting of my faith-based networking group, and we went around the room and asked what the highlights of the Christmas season were. And when I got it to be my time, I said, I purchased an outdoor nativity scene, and it went over really well. The neighbors were really happy to have it out there, and I couldn't have been happier with having an outdoor nativity scene in my front yard. So I very flippantly threw a real crazy thought out to the crowd, and I said, wouldn't it be great if we made Central Indiana the outdoor nativity scene capital of the United States? And somebody jumped up and said, if you do that, we're in, and meaning his school. And so me and my big mouth started Project Outdoor Nativity Scene just from that one gesture.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. So you started in that next year, 2021 then?
Yeah, in 2021, what we did, so that was February, and we just had an informational meeting for any church or any school that wanted to hear more about it. I actually called the manufacturer and said, look, I run a Christian-based networking group, and I really think there's churches and schools in Indianapolis that would be willing to sell nativity sets if we could get them at a discounted group price. So basically, he gave me a price I couldn't refuse. We had the informational meeting. We ended up with a total of 10 churches/schools that jumped in, and that fall we had our first campaign.
Wow. Okay. So all in all, what's your assessment of how that first year went? Was it just the 10 signups, or what did that look like?
No, we kind of limited it to the 10 before the deadline. So we we set it up that they would sell the nativities to their parishioners, to their church goers, to their school parents, whatever the case may be, between the middle of September and the first week of October, so that we could count the number of kits that we sold, made sure we had plenty of time for the manufacturer, which is in the USA, up in Michigan, by the way. And so we hoped that we would sell maybe 100 to 150, which I thought would be a good start. And lo and behold, we ended up selling 550.
Oh, my goodness.
We kind of knew we were on to something good.
I'll say, wow, that had to make you feel great. From the outside looking in, just as maybe you'd call me a casual observer, I feel like I've seen Project Outdoor Nativity Scene grow year to year. I'm curious to hear, was there something in that first year, that first go around, that you learned to maybe help future years gain even better numbers?
Well, what two of the first year people learned very quickly was not to take orders by paper form and
Mhm.
not to take checks. In this day and age, most people are used to paying electronically. So one of the first lessons that a couple of our groups, and they still sell them for us, by the way, 5 years later, not to take orders by paper forms and checks, but rather create a QR code and have an electronic form created that captures your name, your phone number, your email, and how many sets or kits of nativities you want. And then you've got an active list that when they're ready to be shipped or ready to be picked up at the church or the school, it's simply an email to 15 to 115 people who have bought a kit. So that was a big first year learning lesson. The second really big important thought was to plant the seed early, plan, and plan some more, so that you don't get caught up with the calendar. The best laid plans. Gee, we wanted to get it out there to market sooner, but we didn't. And so they learned the sooner we can prime the pump, get the word out midsummer or early fall saying, hey, coming attractions, stay tuned. You're going to have a chance to buy one. That was really, really what we learned the first year. And we've kind of taken that to the bank the next 4 years.
I see. Well, that's great. And so you've been doing the project for 5 years now, is that correct?
Yes, this is
5 years.
we've had 5 full years, so this fall will be our sixth campaign, and
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So how over the 5 years, how has that growth curve looked? And just out of curiosity, how are you measuring your own success? What do you look at?
Well, our growth really, Tony, has been tremendous. We've steadily grown. We call it PONS, Project Outdoor Nativity Scene, to where this year we expect this fall to have 50 or more parishes or churches or school organizations participating. So last year in 2025, the first year, as I mentioned earlier, we sold 550. Last fall, we sold over 2,000.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. So altogether in 5 years, Tony, we've sold a little more than 6,600 nativity sets, and more than $130,000 has been raised for ministries of their choosing. So Project Outdoor Nativity Scene, or PONS, is really twofold. One, first and foremost, evangelize the true meaning of Christmas by putting the Christ child, Mary, Joseph, and the baby Jesus in your front yard. And two, because of the discount that they receive from the manufacturer, they can get some much needed money for the ministries of their choices within their churches or schools. So it's really a win-win for the school or the church and for the community because they embrace the true meaning of Christmas.
Very nice. So, and I can attest to the fact, Jim, just around the Indianapolis area, over the past 5 years, I notice more and more Project Outdoor Nativity Scene sets in front yards. So it feels to me like it's um, well, I'll put it this way. I sense that the families take a lot of pride in putting their sets out in the front yard over the holidays. Um, so what are the possibilities of ponds? Is this a project that's going to keep growing and growing? Have you reached the saturation point? How are you looking at the long-term plan here?
Yeah, we don't want to rest on our laurels. We think that we've done pretty good for 5 years, but the possibilities, Tony, are literally endless. I looked up the other day, I asked the question of and Googled it up saying, how many Christian churches are in the United States? And it comes back and there's 350 to 360,000 Christian churches in the country. And likewise, there's about 35,000 Christian-based schools in the United States. So saturation point, no. We're just really beginning to get the word out. And that's the most important thing, getting the word out. Once a church, once a school knows about this program, knows the win-win of it, evangelization and making money for a ministry of their choice, they jump in with both feet.
Very good. So speaking of jumping in, if an organization is interested in jumping into PONS, how do they get a hold of you? How do they reach out to get more information and to determine whether or not it's a good fit for them?
Yeah, I would love to talk to anyone that's interested in knowing more about it. It's a simple program, and you can simply just call me at 317-590-5403 or email me at jliston, Liston, at catholicbusinessexchange.org. And this program, Tony, is open to all denominations. It's not just a Catholic-based program. So we have a lot of Christian-based churches and schools that are taking part. And what they'll get is a quick response from me with a Padlet link that they can show the dimensions of the kits, what they cost, the strategy of scheduling, testimonials from pastors and priests on why they should get involved. So it's after 5 years, we've learned a lot, and we want to share that with all newcomers that are interested in knowing more about Project Outdoor Nativity Scene.
Well, that sounds tremendous, Jim, and I congratulate you on your success. I really look forward to seeing where this all goes, how far you can push it. I think it's a great project, and it's been wonderful having a bit of time to learn more about it.
Well, thank you for your time today, Tony, and you take care.